You and Your Psychopathy by Kate of Gaia. But right above that is Dear System Worshipping Whores of Babylon. I find it fascinating watching your system and delusional reality crumble down around you. You're beginning to see how powerless you truly are. Once those, like me, see through you for the ignorant, bought and paid for slaves that you are. In the same way the Roman legions fell, that was exactly the same system you serve today. Your impotence is exposed as well for all to see. Yes, you love to parade yourselves in true peacock fashion, with your fancy robes, your clown suits, your 9mm penis extensions, your titles, offices, and repugnant elevated levels of self-impotence. Every day your masters and the foul intents you serve show their fear in grand fashion, ramping up the same old diatribes, dragging out the same old empty Trojan whore-says, to no avail. You can doubt this all you want, but perhaps a little time reading my writings on my website will clear your bought and paid for minds a little, where in truth it is my intent to wake the sleepiest aspects, or as specks, of humanity up. You that serve your dead crown are the sleepiest of all. Is it ironic that in the execution, lovely word, of your duties, owed crucifixions, not only are you killing your own souls, but the souls of the ones you claim to love, such as your children, families, and friends? What's funny as well is that you go about your daily programmed lives inflicting pain and harm on others, especially those trying to snap you out of your delusions. I would suppose the hardest part for me is knowing that I'm dealing mostly with psychopaths, like you, who think this is a good and normal thing. Just a few questions that might shed some light on your psychopathy. Never an easy thing for those salvageable to accept, but try I will nonetheless. By the way, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you're a certifiable psychopath with serial killer tendencies. Just a little heads up for you, LOL. Do you think that war, where the murder of people, uniformed or not, is a good idea just because some puppet master, banker type, or media talking head is a good thing? Does fleecing the creations of others to enable you to have a paycheck, in that you produce nothing anyway, welfare capitalist, justify the harms your willful ignorance or willful choice allows? In that you already know that any use of a legal name creates slaves of humanity long ago shown and proven, are your continued choices of your profession to aid and abet slavery for your unseen masters okay with you? Does the fact that your jobs as elevated slaves, showing your disdain for all human life, including your families, bother you enough to stop using psychotic justifiers bathed in human suffering to actually look at the proofs surrounding these facts? Does the illusion of power and control over others using violence and threats of such, draped in titles and flags dripping with blood, suffering, keep you up at night, or are you simply content to justify the psychopathy with phrases like, I'm just doing my job, the same phrase that got many war criminals hanged? Are you content to spin out lies against others like the rumor mongers outlined in Revelations 18 and other tomes as your standard operating procedure to harm people like me, exposing your corruption and enslavement? Oh, the list of questions could go on endlessly and seamlessly, as I know you're aware, but really, why bother? That's the trouble with psychopathy and egos like yours that are bought and paid for. You can't negotiate with insanity, especially those with an evil, soulless intent to begin with. Just like my interaction with a few of your well-trained dogs a couple of weeks back, I'm sure they were scratching their heads at their stand-down order that saw them run off with minimal effort on my part, because I know what, I know what rules yours and their minds. This is likely the first time they ever chat with someone who uses creation law. You know, the law of creation herself. Best that you catch up with the facts on my website, kateofgaia.wordpress.com. It's also funny the pair of fetchers showed up the next day when I was in the same place I was the night before. This is the difference between force and power, where force is the effect, a place you live in, a place you live in, but not me. LOL. I mean, really, how many times do you have to be handed the same truth, deny it, and then even try to claim that you're not a psycho and a parasite on humanity? Unfortunately for you, the masses are awakening to this very quickly. But then, once you know how to be cause over this reality, those at effect are, well, at effect, like you. How neat is that? Seriously, how long do you think your supposed jobs are going to last, and that we are beyond the critical mass now that is bringing your psychopathy to an end? Now imagine this for a minute. Imagine that the roles are reversed and I am to be the one to judge you. How exciting is that? Would you wish for me to judge you and your actions in the same way that you have corrupted every truth to attack me to the point where you are now powerless? That's the trouble with your spell-casting masters, the scribes, Pharisees, and corrupters of truth, that you must get joined or consent to a name, dripping in spiritual contract, in the same way that a vampire cannot enter your house until you invite them in, kind of thing. Your whole system is based on the fact of feigned authority, and is solely dependent upon the masses never waking to this. Oh, we're awake, LOL. Yep, you can sit there in your eensy little ivory towers made of glass and deny whatever it is you need to deny, but the facts remain. Ignorance of true law was, is, and never will be a defense for psychos hell-bent on feeding on others just because you think you can. No, your royalty, your popes, your clergy, your presidents and prime ministers, etc., are only held in place by one teensy-weensy thing. People must be made to think they have power to get the spiritual consent and contract. While much of this is going over your ability to comprehend, the good news is myself and others, and your illusions and delusions of grandeur are toppling daily now. Tell me, what does it feel like reading this when you know in your hearts, well, if you have a soul, exactly what it is that I am saying is pure truth? The truth is, the time is coming swiftly, where all the harms you have wished upon me and my family will be granted in your spiritual mirrors, as per the golden rule, where I use the golden mean. Look up the Narmer palette to get a handle on the little books all cops carry, and what they are, and why. You'll have to do a little reading, assuming that you can, to actually get a grip on this. What I do know is that most people in uniform and government jobs, etc., are simply duped into thinking what they're doing is right. But then that's the product of, your well-designed schools, churches, and training to keep this insane reality chugging along. End of the line, kids. This train you're riding is going off a cliff in the same way that lemmings do the same thing because everyone else is. Yep. Psychotic, even by your delusion psychiatric definitions. Too funny. Tick-tock, tick-tock is the sound of your control clocks running out of time. The best part is that I still wish you no harm. And why should I, since what goes around comes around in perfect pendulum swings? I merely have to think this into existence now, and this is what your masters were always terrified of. Have a listen to my show that was briefly interrupted by these truths I'm sharing, March 14, 2014. As per your calendar control system, I'll share a link at the bottom of this last reminder. Also, take a look at a 3-year-old plus video Judge Bouse to Sovereign, and then apply the same rules they used on Sesame Street, where one of these things is not like the others that even a 5-year-old mentally retarded child could spot. No, you have grown fat and slothful on the preying on your fellow mankind, either through your willful ignorance or simply because the psycho in you saw easy game to give you an elevated sense of self-importance, impotence, where I know some of you are fully aware of the rules of the game, like myself. I, countless millions now, are sick of your sickness, your mental illnesses, your psychopathy, and are befuddled at how stupid must one be to continue this, or how insane and mentally ill you truly must be. I have looked in the empty eyes of some of your soul feeders, the empty biological computers, far too many times and sickened by your complete lack of compassion. No, I'm not going to sit here and try to educate you, because your programs either run too deep or your insanity makes any compassion for yourself and others unfathomable, so I won't even bother to try. That's your job. The choice is simple, and the choice is clear. Either you will be a villain or a hero. No one sits on the wall. Hell, you know what happened to Humpty, right? No, your child-raping pedophile masters in your governments, your churches, synagogues, mosques, palaces, and all manner of titles, be they kings, queens, popes, bishops, presidents, prime ministers, and those you cannot see, want to make sure your deals with the devil stay in full force and effect. You are at the crossroads now. You've already signed your deal with the devil by being oathed to a dead crown corpse. You reinforce this with any and all id entity pay pers, where your only power over others rests in them being as stupid or evil as you. Day after day, you and your minions go out into the world reinforcing this Narmer trap in every country on this globe. You willfully premeditate spiritual murder with the intent to dupe someone dumb enough into being one of the names in your book of the dead. No, this spell is broken, where no one has authority over me, where I will never invite any of you vampires and werewolves into my house, as clearly shown on March 14th and countless times before. The only thing more unyielding than you in my reality is me. But then, you already know this. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The real irony here is that I am still trying to help you awaken to your evil ways, if that is or was ever even possible. You have gathered quite the collection of karmic retribute ion to date, and that's only what I have witnessed. Never mind the countless others you have screwed over in this one single lifetime. Every wrong you have done and continue to do must be paid for in full. Such is the way of the common with my law. Yep, you create your own laws within, and those that make the laws must obey them. And I'm not talking about the mindless psychobabble in your legal books of the dead. Here's what I get to play the here's where I get to play the mirror role of Pontius Pilate, and simply wash my hands of you, and cast you to the mobs you have been preying on, because honestly, I've done enough to waken your feeble minds, and it's up to you to sort yourselves out. Regardless, what you don't fix, the universe will fix for you. Fact. Look, Mom, no hands, no wish of harm, no need to, since your actions of past, present, and future, in the infinite moment of now, has you judging yourself anyway. In short, sucks to be you. Even as I write these things, these little heads up to, to psychopathy, I ask myself, why even bother? But then the law of truth, or law of verily, truth, love, unconditionally, is the only thing that motivates me, knowing it's costing you your soul, if you have one, and I'd sure hope you do the same for me. As for the mindless, soulless meatstick bioborgs, nothing there, so nothing lost anyway. I spend every waking moment focused on taking your false idol towers down. Let's say all your attempts to destroy my family and my life only served as motivation. No amount of your created hate, either by you or those scared into believing your shite, will make my infinite and immortal soul buckle. You have tried, at gunpoint, via kidnapping, etc., and you have failed. The good news is, you know this now as I do. Seriously, how does one convey truth to someone who is who is a willing psychotic like you? You and your ilk have duped innocent souls for far too long, and your time is up. It's written in your stars, silly. No, I harbor no ill will towards you or any of your psychotic kin or masters, because you've already sealed your fate, and your deal with the devil contracts are now due anyway. So I'm just going to sit back and watch you self-destruct now. What will you do when your fate is in the hands of beings like me and others? Whose money will you steal when money no longer controls the masses? Who will feed you, build your homes, or take you in, knowing what you have done to them and why? Your media spin dogs are spinning out already. Your master's false flag attempts are exposed before they're even conceived now. Humanity is tired of your insane wars and psychosis of controlled mindsets. You have a pretty ugly mirror to look into, but now you can call it your crystal ball, where your future is secured by the mirror of harmful actions. I honestly hope you're up to the test. Yeah, I keep a very close eye on me, dear psychos, because I want you to see me laugh. I want you to begin your long trek home with my laughter ringing in your ears. I wonder what a fully aware and conscious slug thinks of as a boot comes down to crush it, in the same way that your boots came down on the innocence of countless ages. As I said before, and I will say again, to appease your ego-testicle angers and fears that I wish you no harm, where you've wished more harm on yourselves than I could ever bear to imagine. Time to set the record straight, my dear lost souls, because the truth is, the record will set you straight anyway. No fuss, no muss. You see, that's what fear tastes like. And since your minds are great at inflicting it, you should have no problem imagining what you have earned by and of your choices and actions. In closing, may the universe be as merciful on you as you have been on others. Mercy me indeed. LOL. One and love. Lauve. Me. Magnetic Electric.